What's going on, y'all? It's J Small Reviews here, back at it again with another video. And as you guys, for those of you that did watch yesterday, and as you probably expected here either way, this is my recap for the Kings versus Queens 4 event, going over my top 3 most impressive and most disappointing performers, showing you guys the highlights of the card, the lowlights, showing you what all of the large talk is about on either side of the spectrum. Overall, in terms of ranking the event, I would give it a 6 out of 10. I think it was, not good enough to be 7. 7 is like that solid number you give when just solid, good event. I think this is a little under par from that. The first 3 battles, it started, on an incredible, incline in terms of entertainment. There's one humongous dud, which we will talk about, and then a main event that, energy-wise, suffered from the battle before it, and a couple lopsided performances. So when you take that all into account, 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10, that's when everyone on the card shows up. I can't necessarily say that across the card, but I think it's a little more entertaining than people, I've seen some people giving it credit for. I don't think it was like an ass event or a bad event. Not that it's the greatest either. It's just that I've seen ass events and bad events. You know what I mean? So I think it's a little disingenuous to throw that in that category. But 6 out of 10, nothing crazy, just an okay event. And you guys that have been here, you know how this goes. Before we get into the top 3 most disappointing list, followed by the top 3 most impressive, we're going to do a quick little talk on people that aren't going to make the list either way, battles that are solid or not good, but still, didn't end up making either part of the list. So without further ado, let's cover those expendables. And in terms of a battle where neither battler made the list, it's actually pretty much going to only include the main event for the most part, and that is Tay-Rock versus Miss Hustle. Solid battle, a battle that, like I said, I think because it went after Jazz versus Clips, and I think that really took the crowd down. It was just hard for them to fight back and get true momentum back into the building. Plus, people have been in there for hours, so even without an extremely bad battle beforehand, it's just hard to harbor all the energy needed. But it really comes down to just energy in the building. I thought that both battlers had pretty good material. I thought Rock's first was light. And I think overall what you see is a Rock who, I'm not going to say he's bad, but he's just lighter this battle. Especially in the first and the third, he's still rapping with his, immaculate pockets, immaculate pace, something that he's really worked on last year and bringing into this year. But in terms of the actual content, I don't really think he was punching back to back outside of the second round. I did think his second was very, very good. So I liked Tay-Rock against the round I ended up giving him, but his first and third, just thought that while he was rapping good, kind of mailed it in for the most part. And I thought Hustle really took advantage, performed her ass off. I will say both of them had a plethora of OBC. I have no idea why this battle has so many outdated references, but both of them had a lot of bars that have been used before. Hustle landed the Caliente Haymaker, which was dope, but just goes, had a lot of that. And then Rock had a Kryptonite bar in the second. Hustle a hieroglyphics bar. Just, a couple things to point out because it is worth pointing out. It was a little more noticeable than the usual. This isn't just, you hear bars all the time. It's battle rap. That's true. You know what I'm saying? Every battle pretty much has at least 1 or 2 of a bar that we may have heard a version of before, but I thought in this battle there was a lot of it. With that being said, though, still love what Hustle did. A bunch of dudes circling Rock as an intervention, little punches like that. I still thought she was mad creative. It's why I personally gave her the first and third. Now, Caffeine votes kind of counts as fan votes. I have no idea how Tay-Rock won this. Little bit of 50th battle help there, man. Who knows? The people happy for Rock, and I thought that was a wholesome moment too. Shout out to Rock for all of the work that he's put into battle rap, specifically the URL to have 50 battles. Pretty crazy feat in itself, but solid battle. I had Hustle first and third pretty clear. I edged Rock the second. And it was a dope battle, but just no one was too great. Maybe Hustle had a debate to make, some of the top 3 performance. Didn't personally make it for me. And while I did have Rock losing, I didn't think Rock was one of the worst on the card. So that out of the way, dope battle, and we can get into the top 3 most disappointing performers of the card. So at number 3 for most disappointing performers, first off, it was a toss-up between this person and Shotgun Suge, but I thought Shotgun Suge, although he lost, which we'll get into later, I thought that Suge really just underestimated a little bit and then ran into a career performance. But I still thought that Suge's second and third was good material. I didn't think he was bad, so I didn't want to throw him on here. But at number 3, I am going to throw Jazz the rapper. I actually have Jazz winning this battle. And so you think, Justin, how How, J Smo, is she going to win the battle and be on the disappointing performers compared to someone that lost? Well, her first round was good too. You know what I'm saying? While we're going over the positive things, her first thought was like a 7, 8 out of 10 round. When our grandmothers meet up in heaven, my grandmother gonna fuck your grandmother up. Thought that was funny. The Nickelodeon scheme, dope. Guess which room I'm in? You need room for improvement. Every battle you bring one in a possible. I never play spades with you. These are good lines, man. Even the closer about every person who was in Harlem and schemed died. So her first is solid, right? And a battle that I thought could be bad. And don't get me wrong, Clips was definitely doing his part in making this a bad battle, which we will talk about soon. But I thought Jazz's first was good, but her second or third, quite frankly, is just some of the worst rapping Jazz has done. Particularly in the second, she opens up with the CC whining bar. I don't want to hear CC whining, Charlie Clips whining. Thought that was decent. And then from there, she gets into in-depth angles for most of the round about Charlie Clips and ass play. Not happy. Not happy. You see me smiling? I'm not smiling. I did not like that second round at all. Obviously, inherently, it's going to be uncomfortable. We're not breaking down no fucking bars from it. I'll tell you that right now. Just awkward, and it reminds me of her third versus Geechee, which in a lot of ways, I think this does mirror that Geechee Jazz battle, which I thought was a possibility when you talk about all-around battlers that are having like an exhibitional type of fun battle, and it's just awkward. So her second is not good, and then as she gets to the bottom of her second, she brings out Benji Lolo just as Black Jesus, rebuttaling Clips' whole White Jesus prop, and even Benji Lolo was airballing. At some point in the second, they just hit the red button. They said, we letting it all go. So the second isn't good, and then her third is really just structurally, in a lot of ways, just one of the worst rounds Jazz has ever rapped. She starts out with the angle about Clips needing crowd engagement to be good, but from there, she gets into this alcohol type of segment that leads into a huge airball, like probably the worst airball I've ever seen Jazz shoot in a battle, and just not memorable material, and some of the material in there just isn't good. So overall, while I do have her winning the first two rounds of this battle, this is a battle that clearly the unseriousness of her opponent kind of was on Jazz a little bit. She took some of that up, and overall, had one of the less good performances of the night, one of the worst performances of the night. So that is why I have Jazz at number 3 on the list. And as for the top 2, at the runner-up spot, I do have Coffee Brown. Now, coming into this battle, Coffee's already predicted to lose lopsided. So inherently, her losing extremely clear, 3-0 at that, is not the most shocking. We talk about disappointing on here. It's not always about just who is the flat out worst. If somebody, does something at a different level that's maybe is part of an upset, like Suge. We're going to reference Suge, right? Why is the one that's less, on a disappointing list, the one that's kind of likely to go in. And what's crazy is I actually like Coffee second this battle. Once again, we start with the positivity. I thought she was good. The rooster cock back bar I thought was good. Angled a little bit more, angle punched a little bit more in the second. And I think her problem for the most part is Coffee just has a way of writing where it's like she will write an extremely terrible bar and then write a great haymaker after. And it's just very on and off. And for some people, it's hard to look over the bad bars. Like she had what do you do when the rooster gets loud? You cock back. Then she does a child show setup and says basically, I'll never drag and tail. That's not good. So I understand why people are upset when it comes to like the on and offness of it. But I thought her second, she showed flashes. So it wasn't an all-out loss, but her first struck like just material wise isn't good, and she choked in the round. And then her third, while she had the sex approach, talking about what her and Twerk have done in the past, the shook his pride opener, the no gag reflex, only throw up gang signs, she got some crowd love in the third, but structurally is not sound, and then has a worse choke in her third than she did in the first. So 2 chokes, lost 30, and with one good round that I could argue is good that still has some flaws. I just think when you look at all that, it is her first time in the big stage. I do want to see her get a second chance, preferably it's another like top tier lady. I don't think just because you went up here, lost to Twerk your first time in a big stage, you're just fully not cut out for it. It's a near impossible task. She definitely was under par though, even with the good second, and you just can't have multiple chokes. So we're hoping that those flashes are showing more to come on the big stage as time goes on. But as of tonight, can't excuse some of the mistakes she made, which is why I had Coffee, or last night, which is why I had Coffee at number 2 on the most disappointing performers. And as for number 1, Charlie Clips. Charlie Clips has been committing acts of terror for a little bit over a year in battle rap, man. I know this is someone that throughout his career, for those of you who've watched my top 10 all-time battle rappers video, probably my favorite video I ever made, y'all know how much I covet Clips, how high I hold him all time. And he's always had, 30s and always takes serious. Freestyling is always a part of it. But if you really look at what's been going on recently in terms of him not caring about a battle, I mean, it's complete, mail-in, what people murdered him for in 2016. From the first round of this battle, he's freestyling over half of his material in the first, and it's not very good. He starts off with misrebuttals in the first. This letter concept, Jazz was writing a letter that said 4 battle rapper names and then turned it into a scheme with the 4 battle rapper names. You're writing this and this in Calico, and I came out with the Calico. It's not good. I feel like I've said that a lot in this video, but we just got to call, little things for what it is. He had a jazz instrument scheme. I could trump it. You know what I'm saying? These are things that we could have told you were going to happen in the battle. Jazz artist scheme. And that was his first, which just wasn't that good. But it was And then his second somehow is a step in the worst direction. I mean, for the most part, it's just gibberish, outdated schemes. And I think he won the third because someone had to win the third. It's actually probably the most written that he had in there. The college basketball, the Utah scheme is cool. But overall, man, where I'm at with Clips, either be very picky, come out very rarely for plates you're motivated for, or stop fucking up your legacy, man. You're a great, benefit off the fruits of your labor, go to Wild 'N Out, and just leave battle rap alone, man. And that, is my disappointing performers list. Obviously, very harsh on Clips there, too. Before we get into the top 3 most impressive, obviously, with the real list that matters, just a little bit more, man. It's just, really, when a guy is showing up with that little effort versus Danny right on the big stage versus Jazz, he's just paid too much and just too much of a name taking up a big spot on big cards where other stars that have been performing well or younger talents trying to be stars could fill in. It's very frustrating to watch someone that just doesn't give a fuck keep getting paid the big bucks and big moments to not give a fuck. Very frustrating. Think Clips is amazing, but we all saw what we saw. Now, you know what I'm saying? Now that we're over the disappointment, top 3 performers of the card, and at number 3, I do have DNA. Now, coming into this card, I know DNA and KC was a battle that wasn't looked upon with much positivity, right? I even thought it had potential to be a boring battle. It just being the fact that they're both good at things, but if they really just get into their regular bag and not super motivated, it could be a lot of 4-bar buildups, a lot of generic level battle rapping. But DNA was incredible. I think right off its first round, which is one of the best rounds of the night, and he won clear. He started out with the Thug It Out case YSL flips, but a lot of witch flips and a lot of just great rapping and momentum. I mean, the pace that he was rapping with from this to that to this, it's just he was moving so fast and performing so well that not only do the writtens check out on the paper test, but he's serving it to the crowd perfectly. The whole Pulp Fiction multi that led up to They Don't Know What's in Case, Pulp Fiction, the freestyle moment that he slid and fell on stage and said, I'm sliding so crazy, stage maybe do the electric slide, moments. Even if you're not a DNA fan, this is one of those universal, probably one of the best DNA rounds in the last little bit. Across the community. And Casey was good this battle. She's not going to make the top 3 most impressive, but I love what she did. I thought her first was good. Her second was fire. She just straight up won the second round. They said, come, show Casey, show some personality. I'm trying. They said, come up out that shell, Case. Now, motherfuckers is dying. That was crazy. I'm not going to go super bar for bar on Case here, but definitely the 4th right outside. I think that her and DNA was actually battle of the night, but the reason DNA makes it quite clear, quite simply, is because he kind of clearly won. It was 1-1 going to the 3rd, in my opinion. I thought DNA's second was good, but like I said, love Casey's second. DNA had a phenomenal first round, and in the 3rd, just does what he has to do to clean it up. Still a good round from both of them, but the Apple Pay bar, crazy. The case with Chrome, it ain't easy to block. Thought that was fire. The hollow, you gonna catch a hollow case like Blockbuster, Men in Black, the flashes of my, they don't remember the flashes of my pen, something like that. The Men in Black memory wiper. Just a really, really good performance from DNA on the big stage, extremely powerful. And while a couple people were ahead of him, he clearly had one of the standout performances of the night, which is why I put him at number 3 on the list. And then as for the top 2, this one was just really hard to split up, but at number 2, I do have New Jersey Twerk. Talked about his battle with Coffee a little bit, and at the end of the day, man, Twerk is just writing some of the best material in the world. He's just one of the best in the world right now in terms of this current little streak he's on. We always talk about if with Twerk. Well, now we're 4 battles in a row. One of them are the big stage variety, and we're still seeing a guy that's really not slowing down. His first, immaculate. From the Ford Focus, I put the Addy in my car, even my Ford Focus. From there, he gets into the you can't even get comfortable, flip on coffee slogan, crazy, Brown versus Board of Education, sun still up in California. I mean, this man was firing at all cylinders. And even from there, they be calling you Wody, but we don't even know about your juvenile. The juvenile Wody shit, crazy. I mean, overall in the first, like I said, Coffee's first wasn't good, and Twerk's first is the best of the battle, so it's like 1,000,000 in the first round, but still 1-0. Coffee, even though she hit a good second, it just wasn't enough either. Twerk second, even when she died, she was sassy. I watched her eyes roll back, crazy. The Flapjacks bar was wild. Barry Coffee's face, Suffocator, Barry Coffee's face in a pillow. I had a flashback. Overall, and then you get into the fact that he's adding flow pockets in this. This isn't just set up, bomb. Specifically in the second, he's rapping with all different types of paces and flow patterns. So now you're just seeing a Twerk that's getting like super comfortable with his all-around game. Added a little comedy in there too, and even in the third round, he rapped about like 1/4 of his third round, right? But he had this freestyle rebuttal at Babs, like either fuck me or all the girls die, something crazy. So do what you do best, Babs. Give it up for the ladies. Shook the building. He damn near won the third off that alone, which is why he did a little poetry school angle versus Coffee for the rest of the third. But he basically won the third to many off the strength of that freestyle. So Twerk is, very much so taking the game serious as we speak. Me personally would love to see Twerk versus Av next. I think that's good rec on his way to, probably getting up to like a humongous plate again. A Hitman-esque plate, although probably wouldn't be Hitman or something of that nature, maybe building up to the easy blockbuster that I know a bunch of people are looking forward to. But whoever he battles, I can say with confidence I'm expecting a good Twerk from here on out the rest of 2023 until he proves me wrong. So great performance from him, and that's why I had him up there. Could have been number 1. Some people are going to have him as number 1, but me personally, I put him at number 2. And that lets us get into our number 1 performer of the night, which leaves none other than Shuni the rapper. I had Shuni. I said coming into this battle, Shuni might be in danger. What I was unaware of is that Shuni was the danger. I did not see her, even if she was good, I didn't see her being just this confident and dominating. And she led off in the first round, and she had the sugarcane to be, the sugarcane bar was dope. He's the baby local. This shotgun is the babysitter. And then she had a weird little like stumble moment there, and I'm like, here we go. She has creative lines. She's proven to have good content, and she's not going to keep pace. But after that little stumble thing, man, she is you built like every shape, you know what I'm saying? A little bit of comedy at him. That's another thing about this performance. Shuni is attacking Suge in a variety of ways. She is the contact, so she's performing the strong arm bar, headshot, Sugar be everywhere like funnel cake, fire, the double barrel Suge like Elmer Fudd. Her first is incredible. Suge has a first, you know what I'm saying? He's trying so quick to catch up momentum, kind of stumbling over himself. He's a little stunned. And then Shuni's second is just as good, if not better than her first round. Still having great flows. You like my mom's best friend's kids, a fake cuz, crazy. The Big Bird Open Sesame. Some people didn't like that bar. I thought that bar was fire, but she's already built up so much momentum by then. The Fruit Basket bar, the Sugar Cookie bar was crazy. All this, the Jimmy Hat bar, and then to end her second, once again, like I said, variety. So she's got the bars, right? The punches. She's got the comedy, and then the Percolator Performance bar. Probably one of the bars in the night. A moment in Shuni's career. She was up. A dominant 2-0. And overall was just, really shocking me, man. Just so extremely impressed with her performance. And even as you get to the third round, she perfectly executes an angle about Suge even taking the Slade battle. And definitely the moment of it was, what I would have said versus Slade? Exactly. Nothing I wouldn't have. Fire, very simple, but just So you have angling, you have performance, you have punches, you have comedy. I don't think anything could have prepared me to possibly see the best Shuni that I've ever seen in my life on this stage. But she proved a lot of people wrong. I personally got to apologize. Love the way I always praise the way that you how you write creatively and kind of the more witty punchline bag you've gotten. I really appreciate creative bars that we haven't heard before. So the name flips being on point is always going to go over well with me. But then on top of that, to add the performance, the comedy, really control the room and give something for everyone to love. That is a truly, truly, truly great performance. And for an underdog to catch a 30 on someone who's battling at one of the best in the world type of rates right now, for all those reasons, that's why I thought Shuni the Rapper was the performer of the night and the talk of the town from Kings vs. Queens 4. And that is my full review here for Kings vs. Queens 4. Like I said, solid event with some great performances, some terrible ones, and just overall pretty much some entertainment factor from every battle, even possibly in the cringe classic variety. You guys, though, let me know down below in the comments, who did you think was the best and worst performers of the night? I think we're very clear on who the worst performer of the night was. But, between Shuni, Twerk, what I'm saying, even maybe out there, somebody really loved what DNA did. Let me know what you thought some of the best moments of the night were. Definitely thought it was a solid card. Probably goes into that, one of the more just solid Kings versus Queens. I don't think it was by far the best, by far the worst. I had some rough predictions going in. Some people thought on paper was the best card going in. And I think it just ends up being a middle of the pack card, which I can't be too mad at. But I'm looking forward to seeing what URL has to do, what their next event will be going forward, what other blockbusters they had ahead of us, especially as we head into the summer. And as we head into April and May, we have tons of events going on from tons of different leagues. Be plenty of coverage to be going through. So just stick with me, and I'll have all types of recaps and different videos up on the channel in the next few months. But it's been J Small Reviews again, y'all. Like, comment, subscribe. I'm gonna catch you on the next one. Peace.